All right, good morning, Miss Bello. So for today, we're going to discuss about chapter 2. All right, so it's about the finance system and the economy. So previously, we talked about what types of money do we have. So ngayon, ang pag-aaralan natin, how does the money goes through from household to customers to consumers and as a whole economy. So how was it go? So that will be our objective for today. Okay, so first things first, let me ask you a question. Are you a borrower or a lender? Of course, you are neither a borrower nor a lender B. Because what is the purpose? We sometimes need more money? Diba? Of course, siyempre kailangan natin bumili ng mga items, mga usual needs such as food, shelter, di ba, in the basic needs. Pero sometimes, bakit kailangan pa natin ng mas marami? Of course, sometimes, nasi-short tayo, okay? So, siyempre, gusto rin naman natin maglibang sometimes. That's why, dito nagkakaroon yung what we call, we borrowed. There are two types of function that that we will be served. Number one, we borrow money because this is what we desire to spend. Sometimes we borrow money because we want to buy a cell phone, a very expensive cell phone. So in order for us to buy it, so therefore we have to borrow through our credit card. Or sometimes we have to borrow money from our peers. Okay, para mabili natin siya. So number two, sometimes the lender have an opportunity to earn a return on their savings. So sometimes, kaya nila pinapabaro yung pera sa iyo kasi alam nila kikita sila. There will be an interest involved kapag nagbaro sila ng pera sa inyo. Like katulad na lang ng mga 5-6, 'di ba? Pinalend ka niya ng pera, then therefore malaki ang kinikita nila, no? At least 40% of what they earned or what they have borrowed to you. So those are what they those these are the two types or two function that we have when we borrow money. Of course, this is also involved with a financial system. There are two groups in a financial system. Okay, as you can see here, we have the server and the savers and then the borrowers. As you can see here, the savers, they are the one who save their money and spend it at the end. And then the other one is the borrower who borrows money from the savers. Okay, there are different types of savers. Number one, an individual who has the money and he wants to borrow, he want or she wants to lend his money to the borrowers. Sometimes they don't put interest to it. So that's one thing about savers. Number two, sometimes you borrow a money from these savers, but the savers have not enough money to borrow you to lend you the money. So therefore, there is another third person involved in this transaction. So as you can see here in this diagram, all right, the first saver borrows he lend the money directly to the borrower. Well, in diagram 2, as you can see here, the savers, there is an interference between the third savers so that he can be able to provide the money to the borrower. So these are things about that you have to learn about the financial system. Okay, another thing, sometimes may tinatawag na financial intermediaries. Like what? Kunwari, si savers, okay, gusto niya ng security. He wants safety for his money. So therefore, he allows his money to be utilized by the financial intermediaries, and then if the financial intermediaries lend the money to the borrower. All right, so that's one thing. Another thing, okay, there's another saver number 5. He lent his money to the financial intermediaries, and then saver 6 also allowed the money to the financial intermediaries. Perhaps borrow before or borrower 4 need enough money for a certain business. So therefore, the financial intermediaries cannot use the money alone with one saver. So therefore, he has two savers in order for the financial intermediaries, let the money borrowed by borrower for. So this is the financial market. How this is the financial system and how it's work. Okay, it is between the borrower and then the saver. All right. So one thing about borrowing and saver, meron tayong tinatawag na financial securities. Ano ba ang financial security? Financial securities are tools used in financial market to match savers seeking investment opportunities with borrowers in need of capital. So therefore, marketing securities from the word itself. All right? Meron kang securities or your money that is being borrowed by a certain entity will be secured with the help of a financial intermediaries. Okay? It also has an opportunity from the borrower to have a capital. So kaya sila that is why they borrowed money from a financial institution so that they can have a new capital in their investment. Okay? So yan. So this is a win-win status between financial intermediaries and then the borrower. Of course, the financial intermediaries will put an interest to it. Once they put an interest, kikita sila, and then the borrower also use the money to seek another business or opportunities. All right, financial security is also what they call a financial security. Okay, it is a contract between the borrower and then the lendee. Siyempre, guys, to secure your financial financial gain, kailangan may securities din yan. So, dapat merong kontrata. Alright? So, therefore, dapat merong paano ang mode of payment, paano din ang mode of, what will be the consequence, and etc. So, each security specify the future compensation or the interest in the lender side. Well, the consequence if the borrower did not pay. Okay, so magkakaroon ka ng interest. Let's assume na nagpautang ako sa iyo ng 10,000 pesos. Along with 10,000 pesos, meron na akong 1% na interest. So therefore, in 10,000, meron na akong 100 pesos na interest. Pero pag hindi mo ako nabayaran within a certain date, therefore, magkakaroon ng another interest. So let's assume na kapag merong delay of payments, naglagay ako ng another 1%. So therefore, yung 10,000 na pinahiram ko sa iyo, magiging 10,200. So this is what we call the financial security. Dapat guys, secure ka rin as a financial lender. Okay? Or the banks or the financial intermediaries. That's why meron tayong securities sa bawat financial transaction natin. Okay, one thing about financial securities, ang tinitingnan nila is what they call the debt and the equity. Okay, these are the two types of securities. Number one, we have what they call the debt securities. This is the promise that you will pay the owner according to the pre-arranged schedule. Kunwari, babayaran mo ko in 2 months. So therefore, we call it the debt securities. So in 2 months, dapat mabayaran mo ko. Otherwise, you will be the loans that I provide you will incur a interest. Okay, so that's what they call the debt security. Well, an equity security naman, it makes the owner also part of the owner of the firm, which the payment relate to the firm's performance. So equity security, usually, sila yung nasa loob ng company. Alright, kunwari, si board of director number 2, nagpahiram siya ng pera sa buong kumpanya. Alright? So ngayon, yung performance ng isang buong company also dictates the equity or the return of investment that I impart to the company. So yan yung tinatawag nating equity security. So ako, as the owner of the company, I lend the money. Therefore, I also being part of the company, I will also earn from the investment that I created inside the firms or the company. So in the US, all right, debt and security ratios, they mentioned the tawag ng fourth quarter of 2012. As you can see here, majority of in the US, mas marami sa kanilang nagkakaroon ng debt equity rather than the equity securities. Actually, as you can see here, debt equities is over 56.3 trillion or 68% of their output, while 25.9 trillion naman or 32% as the US output. So mas marami pa rin sa kanyang depth. Kasi as we all know naman Miss Bello na ang US they live in loans. Kaya mas malaki ang kanyang debt equity over their equity securities. Mas marami silang debt equity, mas marami silang debt over equity. Okay, as you can see here, these are the issuer. All right, these are the issuer of their securities. Look at here. In the debt securities, mas marami sa kanila. Actually, hindi marami. Pantay-pantay. So, marami. Involved ang financial intermediaries of 25%, household na 23%, government, and businesses. As we all know, US naman, in the US, they usually did not rely on their foreign counterpart. Kaya, makikita mo 4% lang ang kanilang foreign investor or foreign debt securities. Unlike in the Philippines, malamang mas marami tayong foreign debt securities than the local one. Okay, look at pagdating naman sa equity, majority of the businesses are own the equity securities in the US, followed by the financial intermediaries, which is only 19%, and foreign intermediaries of 18%. So dito pa lang guys, nakikita na natin na ang kaibahan ng debt equity and equity securities within the company. So ito yung mga nagpapa-issue ng equity or nagpapautang sa mga bansa or in the US specifically. All right? As you can see here, these are the owner of the equities. In the debt equities, majority of them financial intermediaries are the owner of their securities or 63%. Mas marami. Okay? Firms or businesses are only 1%, while the foreign meron silang 17% of 9.5 trillion, followed by the household of 5.2 trillion. That's for the debt securities. Pag sa equity securities naman, makikita mo rin na majority of them also owned by the financial intermediaries. So this just said to us that na karamihan sa mga mundo natin, not even in US, their financial intermediaries are the way of success. Bakit? Kasi sila naghahawak ng pera ng overall economy. So ganyan sila kalakas. Alright? So both debt and equity securities. Alright. There are two features to distinguish between debt and equity. Number one, we are about to call the maturity. Okay? Pag sinabi natin maturity, these are the length of time unit that the borrowed fund are repaid. Gano'ng katagal? Kailan magmamature yung pinautang ko sa'yo? Kailan kikita yung pinautang ko sa'yo? So that's what they call about maturity. Sometimes, okay, or tinatawag natin yung debt instrument specify the maturity date. Equity owners may seek to it and liquidate at any time. So in debt, okay, they specify the maturity date. Kunwari magmamature yung amount mo ng 10,000 in 5 years. In 5 years, naging 10,000, ilagay 11,000 na siya. So, nag-mature na yung perang binenta mo, kumita na. So, that's the maturity date. While the owner naman, kapag sa equity naman, usually, nililiquidate nila yan anytime they want within the company. Kung rin nakita nila, nag-triple na or pag 5 times na yung kinita nila, pwede na nilang i-withdraw yan. Alright? There are two types of periodic payment made. Number one, it can be paid through interest, like what I said a while ago. Alright? It is an addition within the principal amount of the amount that they lend you. While the equity naman, it depends on the dividend naman, okay, or the ROI or the dividend within the company. So yun ang equities. So these are the two periodic type of payment made by the borrower to the lenders. Okay, so as you can see here, these are the terms of contracts that a financial securities characterize, okay, according to debts and equities. So kasi the term of contract, promise to pay, let's assume na 10 days or 10 years, 5 years, etc. Ganyan pagka debt equity. Sa debt naman, sa equity naman, usually of the owners, their stockholders, their rights to receive dividends. So yan, nakabase yan. Kapag debt naman, meron silang maturity date, pero kay equity, no maturity date. Like what's any time that they want. Payment to security, syempre, may interest kapag kay debt, periodic dividend naman pag kay equity. So how much payment amount determined? Depende yan sa interest and principal sa debt. Kapag sa equity naman, it depends on your shares in the company or the dividend amount determined by the company. Let's assume na 5%, you own the company 5%. So that's the time you can able to get the payment that you want from the company. Alright, if the firms is bankrupt, therefore, kapag kay debt, the owner gets to repay before the equity owner. Okay, kaya pag kay debt. Kay equity naman, remember, silang babayaran bago ang claimant. So, yan ang ibig sabihin, yung characterization of a financial security. You secure first your money before this was being paid. Okay, there are pros and cons of debt security. Number one, for the pros, okay, principals repaid and interest earned in terms of contract. Okay, so sometimes kung nagpautang ng pera, they secure na bayad na yung initial principal. Okay, bago yung interest. Yan ang maganda dyan. At least nabalik na agad yung pinautang mong pera. Number two, there is a fixed schedule naman kapag dating sa payment ng mga borrowers. Okay, so let's assume na kunwari in 10 days or in 10 years payments, therefore balik na agad yung principal amount mo. Of course, in debt owners repaid equally before the equity owners is bankrupt. So like what I said, kapag kay debt, pwede mo kunin yung pera mo anytime you want. Okay? Ang consequence naman, payment do not increase if the company does better than anticipated. Okay, kunwari, gumanda yung pamamalakad ng company pero ang inutang niya is 10,000. Therefore, kung magkano yung interest niya, yun lang ang babayaran sa'yo. Nothing more, nothing less. So, yan yung consequence naman niya. Okay, sometimes short-term money needs din naman kasi to from the borrowing company. So, therefore, dahil short-term lang siya, hindi rin ganun kalaki ang interest na pwedeng makuha out of the principal amount. Okay? For equity naman, ganun din. Equity equals to ownership. Alright, the ownership have the input the operations and are entitled for dividend when payment. Okay, if firms perform well, returns are nearly unlimited. So pag maganda ang performance ng company mo, malaki rin ang pwede mong kitain. Ang consequence naman, dividend are subject for your performance. Not all pay are dividends. Okay, so kung magkano lang ang share mo, yun lang ang makukuha mo. Equity owner last to be repaid and there is a bankruptcy. Okay? Ito yung mga consequence naman ng equity securities. All right. So, matching the borrowers with lenders. So, number one, two channels exist to match the borrowers with savers. Okay, meron tayong tinatawag na direct finance and indirect finance. Okay, direct finance, a contact between the borrower and the lender. Well, indirect naman, meron tayong tinatawag na financial intermediaries. Okay, those who buy securities and resell them. Okay, so yung mga financial intermediaries. Like what I said, so makikita nyo dito sa baba, in this financial diagram or the financial system, makikita ninyo there is a middleman or the indirect finances that are involved with the transaction between the savers and then the borrower. So, yan. So, nakikialam sila dito. Ito yung mga tinatawag nating direct and indirect finances. Alright? So, these are what yung financial intermediary siya yung mga indirect finances. So, what do financial intermediaries do? Ano ba ginagawa nila? Number one, they match the borrowers to the saver. Sometimes kasi guys, hindi kaya ng isang uh, lender ang kailangan ng pera. So therefore, si financial intermediary sila nag-neutralize and they make sure that they deliver the initial amount that the borrower needed from the savers. Okay, of course, it also reduced the financial cost within the financial market. Alright, transactions are much easier kapag mayroong financial intermediaries. Hindi mo na poproblemahan yung mga kontrata, hindi mo na poproblemahan yung pera, syempre, because they are financial intermediaries. Okay, it includes banks, credit union, and mutual funds. So alam niyo na to, banks always involved with the financial intermediaries. Okay? If, these are the function of financial intermediaries. Help diversify their investment. So guys, meron kayong choice how to. So guys, kapag mas magaling ka kung paano mangutang sa mga bankos or any financial intermediaries, mas malaki kikitain mo. Sometimes, if you are a good financial officer or manager within the company, alam mo kung kailan magbabaro, you look at the interest with the company. So it still depend kung paano mo gagawin yan, okay? Or sometimes the full of funds to many players. So mas maraming pera kapag may financial intermediaries. They also name the terms. Ano mang gusto mo. Short term, pwede nila natin gawing long term. Okay, kunwari ang utangin mo is 10,000 pesos. Alright, in some banks, o kung babayaran mo siya directly, 10,000 lang in 10 days. Pero pag may financial intermediaries, pwede niya palakihin yung 10 days into 12 months or 1 year. Okay, something like that. Of course, there is also information involved para hindi kitakbuhan. Security between you, within the borrower, and then the lenders. Okay, it reduces your cost transaction. Okay, so ito yung mga benefits ng isang what they called the financial intermediaries. Next, we have what they call the financial market. A financial market is a place or mechanism which the borrower and saver and financial intermediaries trade securities. Okay, a financial market involves the physical or virtual or local or international. So, ito yung common grounds between the borrower and the saver and then the financial intermediaries. This is where the transactions are created. Nangungutang ka, may mangungutang ka, nagpapautang ka, nagiging involved ka, nagkakaroon interest in etc. So yan tinatawag natin financial market. So there are market for new issues of securities and reselling securities. Okay, these are what they call the primary market and the secondary market. Primary market, all right, these are new securities are traded. So direct kang nakikipag-transaction. While secondary market, there is a existing securities between them or nagkakaroon ng middleman between the two transactions. All right? The firms issue the security only to receive proceed from the sale of the primary market. So therefore, secondary market or yung firm involved within the transaction are the one receives the proceeds from the primary market. Without the secondary market function in transmitting information, the primary market would not have much value. Buyers need to know they have the ability to sell later. So ito yung kaya importante din ang secondary market. Sometimes some transaction are in need of a secondary market. Sometimes guys, hindi para sometimes, majority of the time, mas benefit ka if there is a secondary market involved between the transaction of the buyer and the seller. Okay, look at here. So this is the diagram of a primary and secondary market and its function. As you can see here sa first, all right, the first one, the investors, all right, this is the investors lend the money. Okay? All right, and then the money received by the borrower. Okay? And then of course the borrower repaid the security money to the primary market, and then the primary market gives the money to the interest or the lender. Okay? So yan yung transaction niya. Same thing din dito. Of course, kapag nabayaran ka niya, the securities from the secondary market and the security of the interest to. Same thing with the money and then yan. So ito pag meron kang secondary market na involved. Okay? So ito magkakaroon pa ng another market dito sa pangatlo. Okay? So this is how the primary and the secondary market works in the market. All right, what is the price of security? Number one, security price are determined by the supply and demand no matter which market they are traded. Siyempre guys, in economic type, okay? If we look at our economy, it depends kung gaano kalaking interest ang makukuha mo or the price that you can get from the security prices. All right? Still depends. The investor will want to purchase more securities greater than the return. All right? So tandaan yan, gusto lahat tayo, all of us investors, mas gusto natin mas malaki ang return. Therefore, the borrowers are interested in borrowing more at lower interest. Siyempre, sino ba naman gusto mag-borrow ng malaki ang interest? Otherwise, desperate ka na to lend money. But if you are a businessman, you take advantage of the lower interest and invest it again, then kumita ka ulit. Nabayaran mo na interest, nabayaran mo na yung principal, kumita ka pa. So that's the most important part in securities. Alright, pag sinabi natin equilibrium, it is the meeting between the supply and demand. Ito yung pinakagusto nating lahat. That the supply and demand meets in the middle. So therefore, that will be the market condition within the economic supply and demand change. Okay? Supply and demand, okay, if the quantity demand on lower price, the lower price today implies the higher quantity of securities of demand. So, alam niyo na to, yung law of supply and demand. Tandaan niyo, kapag ang demand nakadepende sa presyo, therefore, a lower price implies the higher security demanded. Pag si supply naman, kapag lower yung price today, implies lower. So kapag demand tayo, pag demand up down, inverse di sila lagi. Yun ang maganda. Kapag kay supply naman dapat parehas na up or parehas na down, upper or lower lang siya. Basta pag demand inverse silang dalawa, lower and higher. Kapag supply is lower, lower, higher, higher. So ito yung talk about the supply and demand. As you can see here, itong gitna, all right, the middle part here is what we call the equilibrium. The equilibrium is the midpoint between the supply and the demand. Pag nakuha natin ang ating what we call the equilibrium, therefore, ito yung magiging market price natin. Okay? Ito na yung minimum na pwedeng bayaran. Of course, pwede ka pa rin tumaas niyan, but as far as market securities, nakadepende yan sa equilibrium ng supply and demand ng market. Okay? So, let us shift to supply and demand. Shift supply and demand affect the equilibrium price and quantity. Business wanting to expand capacity in anticipating a growth may borrow more, increasing supply and their security. Shift to the right. Okay? Shift to the right dapat yan. Kapag shift to the left, okay, the business fearful to downturn may borrow less, decreasing supply on their security. Shift to the left. Okay? So tandaan niyo yan. So shift to the right is like this. Alright, you increase your supply. Kapag shift to the left, causing the equilibrium to decline. So tayo laging shift to the right ang gusto natin than shift to the left. Okay? So in calculating the price, tandaan niyo, if the price is 1.5, alright, ito yung formula, BD is equal to 250 minus 0.5 P. Okay, and then this is the supplies of the money. Okay? So, ito yung given na problem. This is in calculating the equilibrium. Okay? And then the solution, okay, the price is equal to 750 and the quantity is at 137.5. Okay? So, tandaan ninyo, so to compute this, the solution is this one. So, therefore, the supposed supply increases of 150 plus 0.05. Therefore, the price is 500 and the quantity is at 175. Okay, so that's the simplest form to compute for the supply. Don't worry about that. I'll explain to you that later on. Pero let's focus on the how does the financial system and economic growth. Tandaan niyo, business needed funds, lahat ng business, to invest in capital in order for more and more goods and services. So therefore, they have to have their retained earning or the income or their past profits. They need new funds of borrowing or selling securities. Countries with efficient financial system grow faster than others. So, mas maganda ang financial support, magandang financial system, mas okay sa isang country. More savers and borrowers will match the efficiency of the financial market. The cost of savings and interests are relatively low. Okay, so sa Asia, during the Asian financial crisis noong 1997, these are the following things that you have to learn. All right, the Asian, a once thriving area, few accounting standard to convey the information to the investors about their investment. So the government involved their financial sector, weak banking system and debt management, inconsistent plan for monetary policy and exchange rate. So ito yung mga nangyari yung Asian financial crisis. Okay, along with the US financial crisis noong 1980s naman, US Savings and Loan Institute began to fall large number. Number one, inflation rose to double-digit levels noong 1970s sa early 1980s. Higher inflation causes the supply and demand to pay higher interest on the bank deposit. All right, long-term mortgage earn fixed amount and the SLN lost huge amount and caused ripple effect throughout the economy. So ito yung mga loan crisis ng savings. Alright, mortgage ng mga housing. Ito naman nangyari ng financial crisis of 2007. Alright, 1998 pala. Okay, it obtained the US the well-development financial system. In country with less development financial system, homeowners is more difficult. In the countries, more savings are required to purchase a home. Okay, people do not own a home until later in life. Okay, ng Financial 2008, if you watch the Big Short, ito yung story niya. Okay, yung palabas na moving The Big Short. Okay, you expecting the rise of kasi nga guys, anong nangyari dito? They are selling houses to those individual who have low income. Okay, therefore, the mortgage bank security crashes because of that. Because those loaners weren't able to pay the principal amount that they borrowed from the banks. So therefore, the government and the central bank provides a bailout. Natalo sila dyan eh. Okay? They need to regulate the financial firm that are too big to fail and take great risks. So therefore, because of this, nagkaroon sila ng Dodd-Frank Act, alright, which include the requirement that stress tests be performed on banks to ensure that declines in house prices will not cause them to pay. Okay, so ito yung mga nangyari ng financial crisis. So if you really want to know more about the financial crisis, panoodin mo yung movie na The Big Short. Okay, it will tell us everything about what financial crisis during the 2008. Okay? So what are the applications of our topic for today in our daily lives? So what do investors care about? Number one, these are the part number one, you expected return. Okay, pag sinabi expected return, the gain that you anticipate in making an investment. Okay, number two, risk. All right, this is the degree of uncertainties. Dapat guys, the higher the risk, higher return. Kasi minsan, higher the risk, lower return. Okay, dapat higher return pa rin. Okay, liquidity. Okay, the ability to pay short-term debts. Of course, the taxes, how much the capital gain be tax. Gano'ng karami ang tax. O in the Philippines kasi guys, as we all know, 12% ang ating taxes. Alright, marami sa mga taxes. We have so many taxes here in the Philippines. Alright, and lastly, we have the maturity. How long the investor have to wait for for the lenders or for the borrowers to pay the principal and at the same time the interest. So yan ang gusto natin. These are the things that you have to learn or you want as an investor to make a decision. All right, to know this, okay, this is how you compute it. We call it return is equals to current yield plus capital gains yield. Okay, current yield, ito yung income or initial value. Capital gains naman, these are initial value, capital gains from initial value. All right, so the formula is for expected return is the probability of high return times high return. Okay, plus probability of low return times low return. Okay, for risk naman, risk is always unknown. Hindi natin alam, pero it's best to measure the degree of uncertainties about the future return. So dapat nating mini-measure kung paano ang risk neto in the future. So the source of risk, number one, defaults or failed to make the payment, unexpected changes in dividends. That's number two, changes in price and security, unexpected change in the inflation rate. So ito yung mga tinatawag natin mga risks na dapat nating malaman. Okay? Quantifying risk to compute for the risk, number one, we have to learn how far the possible return from the expected return, how likely are they. Number two, tools for measuring the standard deviation or the standard error. Usually, this is the square root of the average square deviation from the expected return. Alright, ang formula, this is the formula for standard deviation. Okay? To quantifying risk, we have to interpret the standard deviation. Tandaan niyo, the higher the SD or the standard deviation, it means the riskier the security is, or vice versa. Likelihood of the security with a high standard deviation meeting its expected return is lower. Okay? So vice versa itong standard deviation. Liquidity, it is what we call how long can the borrow pay its short-term debts. Okay? Tandaan nyo, may also be ease of transferring secondary market. Only market security are liquid. Okay, non-marketable security cannot be sold to the investor. Okay, the time and cost it takes to sell or buy the measure of liquidity. Okay, so why a concern? So because the investors may want to need to know to sell the securities prior to its maturity. So pag na-reach yung maturity, pwede nilang ibenta yan. So yan ang importance ng liquidity. Okay, your ability to pay short-term debts. Taxes naman, ito very alam na natin itong taxes na to. This is the interest and dividends earned subject to tax. Kasi guys, as we all know, lahat ng mga kinikita natin, even though you have your own business, it is subjected to tax. Here in the Philippines, everything that we do have taxes. Okay, so we have to get the after-tax expected return. Magkano yan? So this is the formula. One, interest minus tax rate times pre-tax expected return. All right, tax rate affects the investment decision. So therefore, sometimes nagkakaroon tayo ng tax avoidance and tax evasion, which may result to affect the securities prices and of course, lower pre-tax expected return. So ito yung mga consequence naman kapag hindi ka nagbayad ng mga taxes mo bukod sa walang kikitain ng mga buhaya. Okay, ito alam niyo na ito maturity. Why does the investor get the principal back? Alright, because people's different preference as a result of the goals and stages of life. Siyempre gusto natin makuha yung principal, di ba? Sino ba namang ayaw makuha ang principal natin? So that's why we need the maturity. Alright, choosing an investment portfolio. Number one, pag sabi ng portfolio, these are collection of securities. Tandaan niyo, investors care about return, risk, etc. Whole portfolio, not each security individually. So, as a whole, dapat merong return, may risk, and that's dictate the whole portfolio. Tandaan, you must have a diversified portfolio in order for you to minimize the risk that you have involved with. So, tinatawag natin yung idiosyncratic risk or unsystematic risk. Dapat systematic pa rin yan. Alright, many times it is also possible for market risk or what you call the systematic risk. Okay? So, in choosing, dapat the main trade-off of portfolio is expected return and then the risk. Portfolio with higher expected return also has a higher risk. So, bakit mo dapat gawin yan? So, the answers depend on your preference. Ano ba ang gusto mo? Okay? So, what is it that you need? So, tandaan ninyo, data banks or the risk on depths. Alright? Investors pay research firms to rate the financial strength of the company. So yan one thing about investor, talagang pinagagastusan nila to para makita yung rate of return nila. Corporates are related to financial rate by Moody's, Standard Poor, and others. So yan mga dapat. For example, Moody's. O yung mga yan, these are the classes, okay, sa economy natin. Okay, yan, triple A's, okay, pagdating sa stocks to. Alright, pag sabi mo triple A's, these are the higher classes. Alright, the triple B's, o yung mga nasa middle class, and the C's, ito yung mga nasa lower class. Okay, this is what they call the Moody's Standard of Poor and others. So as you can see here, this is the interest rate versus from the triple A versus the triple B. Okay, hindi naman nagkakalayo ang triple A from the triple B. Almost tikit lang din sila. Alright, so yan. That's the risk involved. Okay, with the triple A's and the triple B's. Tandaan nyo, in the risk spread on debts, the amount by which the interest rate is higher because of the risk varied over time. Okay, so ito yung tatandaan niyo about the risk. So risk spread is strongly affected by the business cycle. All right, and then this is the actual and expected inflation. Okay, the data is only up to 2010 lang. Okay, one of the most difficult tasks of investor is forecasting the inflation kasi mahirap naman talaga ma-detect kung kailan mangyayari ang information. Still depend on the government, on the economy, and then the economic performance of a country. Okay, so of course, there will always be a forecast. All right, there must be a forecast accurately, except for the year 2006 and 2007, when the volatile oil price causes the inflation to fluctuate. Okay, because of the oil price, kaya nagkaroon ng inflation rate, napakitaas sa inflation. All right, so that's it for our lesson for today about financial system and economy. So I hope you learn a lot. Okay, so please review chapter 1 and chapter 2, what is money, and then this topic for our quiz on next Saturday. Okay, which magkikita tayo we will see each other at PSBA on Saturday so that I can give you the quiz. All right, so thank you very much for listening and please study hard. Okay, goodbye.